Fun fact about me, I used to be a chef. Back in the day, I first started out as a dishwasher. I was working at a hospital. This was back in like 2005. I hated it. Once I got my car, which my brother had sold to me for $1. Yeah, the DMV knew what's up. I went straight to looking for a restaurant job. And so I find myself applying at the Cheesecake Factory, and they're like, hey, are you interested in being a prep cook? I said, well, I don't have any experience, but I do like to cook and I love to learn. So I'm in. Next thing you know, I'm a prep cook at the Cheesecake Factory. Now, mind you, at this point in time, I'd never eaten there before. But I was like, you know what? I'm about to go ahead and just start learning. I was asking around, like, what kind of restaurant is this? And people were telling me, oh man, it's pretty upscale. I'm like, all right, cool. So 2 weeks in, I'm over here just learning how to do all the prep stuff. And let me tell you, man, I kept messing up. I was messing up a lot, just trying to remember all their recipes and whatnot. Well, anyway, what wound up happening was after my second week, they're like, hey, there's an opening over here as a line cook. And you did say you wanted to learn how to cook some more. So, do you want it? I was like, well, man, 2 weeks I get a promotion? Yeah. So, they put me in the salad station. I wasn't too impressed when I heard the salad station. Up until I actually worked it, I was like, yo, this is intense because at the time, there was like 30 different dishes and every dish had an average of 15 to 20 different ingredients. So I was like, yo, this is way too much to learn. And at the time, I was in college. I was doing college full time and working full time. So you already know that was a lot for me. But here I am in the salad station, just learning how to cook. Then I eventually get a transfer to a newer Cheesecake Factory restaurant, and they were giving me more opportunities there. So I went from salad to making the cold sandwiches and pizzas. Then I was on the deep fryer and the flat top grill. It was dope. I was in the kitchen for like a good 4.5 years. 5 if you include working at the hospital. And that's the funny part. That's normally like where you start out. Like typically you start out as the dishwasher and then become a prep cook and then you become a line cook. Now I say chef, because that's like the typical term that a lot of people know, but to be a legitimate chef, you're the chief of the kitchen. That's what chef is. It's the French term for chief. However, when I went to Bonefish Grill, I was an assistant kitchen manager. And it was me and another dude, but we didn't have a kitchen manager. They fired that guy. So we were the head guys there. So yeah, you could still say that I was a chef. But when I was a line cook, man, those were the times. And anybody has worked in a restaurant, you already know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was fun, but it's highly stressful. Do I recommend it as a career? Absolutely not, because you be working very long hours. You almost don't have a life. You're on your feet all day long. It's killer on your back, on your feet. If you have a relationship, yeah, that might put a strain on it because you don't get to see your special someone too often. Back when I was in Cheesecake Factory, yeah, like I had a lot of fun there. But there was some stressful moments unnecessarily. Sometimes you got, some managers that, they just get ridiculous, man, and they be asking for like the most impossible things, and it's pretty unrealistic. Cause when it comes to like a corporate type of restaurant like that, yeah, man, it's all numbers. It's all it's all sales. That's all they care about, you know. It gets pretty disgusting, man. I'm telling you. But the friends that I made from there, yeah, it was pretty cool, man. It was definitely a different experience. At one point, I kind of considered like becoming, like a chef, like as a career, but I was like, nah, I like film too much, man. No, I take it back. I love film too much. But either way, man, both careers is like very strenuous when it comes to your time. I also know some people that continued the chef route and they're not happy, pretty miserable. Seems like they've even contemplated suicide, man. It gets bad. But there was definitely a lot of things I learned how to make from scratch. It was pretty cool. And for any fellas out there that want to impress a lady, I'm telling you, cooking is the way to go. But sometimes it could be a real killer, man, because let me tell you, when you start working at like higher end restaurants, you start looking down upon the places where you used to eat at. Like I remember when I used to love going to Applebee's and whatnot, I would get some of my favorite dishes from there. And I'm gonna be honest with you, it wasn't a whole lot of favorite dishes that I had. It was mainly like the wings, the burgers. I still enjoy the burgers from Applebee's. They're pretty good. I'm not gonna say like they're the best in the world. Just enough that I can enjoy it. Well, anyway, you start eating some other things, and you're gonna like, man, I could definitely make this a lot better, or like this sauce sucks, or something. But so you gotta be mindful of that, because like your quality starts raising up. Start looking down upon certain places. Definitely not gonna want to go to McDonald's anymore after that. Sometimes we used to be in friendly competition. I remember one time when I was on the flat top grill, right? We had two of them, two flat tops and two deep fryers. And so my station had 8 burritos walking in. And I'm like, yo, there's not enough space. So my manager, he told one of the other guys on the other flat top grill, he was like, hey, you help out Steve. Go ahead and cook 4 of them, and he's going to cook 4. And there was no special orders, no nothing, right? So that was the easier part. And we decided to race each other. Yeah, he beat me by like a couple of seconds, man. Like he had those 4 burritos out. And these aren't little burritos, man. Like pretty much look at it this way. It's for like that your average size guy. It's from your elbow to your wrist. It's like about a foot long. You know what I'm saying? It used to be so busy that you would have the kitchen managers jumping on the line and like bailing some of us out because like so many dishes was just walking in, especially like on a Saturday. Forget it. Those Saturday nights at the Cheesecake Factory were brutal, but nothing compares to Mother's Day. Because Mother's Day, whoo, man. Let me tell you this one. I got a funny story. The first Mother's Day that I've done, and I was still brand new, right? As a line cook at the salad station. But they didn't want me helping out on the line. They knew that I was going to hold them back because it was like, what? My first or second week as a line cook, something like that. And so pretty much they were like, all right, you're going to be floating around. You're going to be helping everybody. And I'm like, all right, I'm not really looking forward to it, but whatever. So they had me prepping like a bunch of stuff, like chopping up parsley and whatnot, bringing it to the line, chopping up lettuce, a whole bunch of things. Every time they were calling stuff from the back, I had to bring it up to the front, right? So when I was doing that, it was just an all-day thing too. I forgot to mention that I was pulling a double. So they wanted me in the morning. And it kind of pissed me off too, man, because it's like I was working a double, floating around. Meanwhile, nobody else was really pulling a double. Like there was a good amount of people that they went home, and I'm like, yo, why am I being stuck doing the double? Like, what's up? And so towards the towards the middle of the day, the dishwasher machine breaks, and so you can't have that on Mother's Day. So what wound up happening was they pretty much got a whole bunch of us to get back there and start hand washing stuff. And you only got so much space. they had to call the guys from, what is it, Ecolab or something. I forget the company name, but you know they pretty much deal with kitchens. I'm sure they probably deal with other industries as well, but mainly kitchens from what I recall. And so what winds up happening is the guys come, start repairing it, and then it's good to go. And then you got other issues going on that we're running out of stuff. It was just utter chaos. Towards the end of the day, man, yeah, I earned my stripes. I was pretty much really exhausted. But I think they gave me a steak for dinner. Because the cool thing was you got to order almost whatever you wanted, on a typical basis. Just so long as it wasn't steaks and seafood. But yeah, I was getting yelled at that day. And then at the end, I'm over here being told that I did a good job. And I'm like, yo, I thought like y'all was pissed at me. But I'm going to admit, I didn't think I was going to be cut out for that line of work. And next thing you know it, years later, I'm still cooking, and I'm training people and getting cross-trained in different areas. I learned how to do pastas. I was cooking on the grill. I was making a whole bunch of things from scratch. I eventually left Cheesecake Factory because it was kind of far from where I was living at. And the amount of money that I was spending on gas, it just wasn't making any sense. So I was like, you know what? I'm out of here. I'm going to go to Bonefish, even though they're going to pay a little less. And I figured it would make up for the gas prices that I was paying. Well, here's the thing. They did say that there was going to have me as an assistant manager anyway. So I'm like, all right, cool. If that's the whole purpose. So it took them forever to cross train me because they were like, all right, 3 months in, they were like, all right, you're getting promoted. I'm like, okay, cool. So when this training begin, I'm like, it's gonna, begin in like about a week or so. And then 1 week they got somebody training me, and then I'm back on the line again. And then like a few weeks later, I'm trained over here, over there, and it wasn't consistent. Like it was honestly aggravating. And so then when they got serious about training me consistently, it was pretty much like, oh, okay, you got this amount of time to do certain things throughout the day. So like I was doing receiving of the produce and the meats and all that. And then I'm over here checking stuff on the line. But yo, I hated it, man, because I had some enemies. These guys ain't like me because I was younger than them. And I was able to keep up. Mind you, they were like in their, I think the youngest one was like in his late 20s. The rest of them were in like their 30s and 40s. And, they saw that I was able to hold my own. They were all also family too. So, they didn't take too kindly to anybody outside of that. And even some of the other guys warned me too, which sucked, but whatever. I did what I had to do. I eventually got fired from that place because when I had like a certain situation going down where like this dude wanted to, freaking fight me because I didn't do something to the certain way that he wanted. And I'm like, all right, dude, like, my bad. Yeah, so this dude got all up in my face. I had my witnesses. And when I was asked about it, the general manager, I flat out told her. I said, yo, I don't like it here. And I gave my reasons why. And so the next day, she calls me in the office and she's telling me that we should go our separate ways. I was like, hold up, you firing me? She was like, yeah, because you're not happy here. I said, listen, I ain't come here, to make friends. I came here, do what I got to do and collect a check. And I was like, and as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what I'm doing. And she was like, yeah, but, like if you're not happy. And I'm like, well, that's not my fault. It's the way that you're running things. Like, what you want me to do? Like, yo, like if you got your employees that they're telling you they're not happy, you don't fire them. You try to assess the situation to make sure, you could do whatever it is that you need to do to accommodate and make them happy. But you're gonna run away and go ahead and be like, no, I'm just gonna fire you because I think that's gonna be the best solution. All right, whatever. So I was like, oh, so you fire me again? I asked her, and she was like, yeah. I'm like, okay, that's all I needed. So for when unemployment comes around, you can't sit here and say that I quit. Nah, your own words. You fired me. So when they got rid of me, I was like, you know what? It's got to be one of the best days of my life. Because I was also working part-time at a furniture spot because my boy had hooked me up with that job. He actually became my supervisor. And so when I told them that I got a part-time job, they also didn't like it because they wanted, my full attention, if you want to look at it that way. And I'm like, yo, you over here give me this promotion with $1 raise. None of these guys are respecting me because I'm younger than them. I was like, you know what? Go ahead, keep your dollar. I really spoke my mind a lot. I ain't had these issues in any other job. It was only this spot. That restaurant was so toxic. Those were my days as a chef, man.